Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about Lylia, one of the strongest mages in Mobile Legends. In this video, I will be talking about how Lylia works in full details, which includes her skills, passive, builds, emblems, along with some tips and guide on how to use her in a match. So, without further ado, let's get started with the video. Lylia is currently one of the most popular and strongest mages in the current meta. She is also picked a lot in big tournaments, as her unique abilities make her a versatile hero capable of fitting into various team compositions. She excels in a poke and burst playstyle, where she can zone out enemies and deal consistent damage. But mastering her can be really difficult, especially if you have never used her before. So, in order to master Lylia, you must first understand how her skills and passive works, so let's start with her first skill. With the help of her first skill, Lylia sends out Gloom in a line, dealing 250 magic damage to enemies along the path and slowing them by 30% for 1.5 seconds. This skill is a reliable poking tool and also a great way to keep enemies at bay. Aside from poking and zoning the enemies, what makes this skill so good is that this skill can be combined with her second skill to form a deadly explosion. So, let's talk about her second skill and find out how her first skill contributes to her second skill's effectiveness. With the help of her second skill, Lylia condenses shadow energy at a location, dealing 90 magic damage to enemies hit and slowing by 80% for a short duration. Once you place her second skill on a target location, you can cast your first skill on your second skill, and once the gloom devours the shadow energy balls, it will detonate to deal an additional 220 magic damage and turn the shadow energy to gloom for a couple of seconds. And once you turn the shadow energy into gloom, you will be able to see a circle around the gloom. And if you use your second skill again inside that circle, the gloom will be combined with the new energy shadow which you just placed, and it will grow in size and its damage will also be increased by 30%. This might be confusing for some people, so let me show you guys how to use her second skill in a proper way. After you finish placing her second skill, use your first skill on your second skill, and after you finish using your first skill on your second skill, you don't need to use your first skill anymore, as you can keep chaining the gloom using your second skill. But remember, you can only chain the gloom as long as you use her second skill inside the circle. And the gloom will also change its position wherever you use your second skill. Your goal should be chaining the gloom as much as you can. And every time you use her second skill inside the gloom will keep getting bigger, and its damage will also keep increasing. That's why it's very important to keep chaining the gloom. And when you hit an enemy hero with the gloom, the recharge time of your second skill will be reduced by 50%. And the recharge time can also be affected by cooldown reduction, so make sure to build items that provide cooldown reduction. Now, let's talk about her passive. Her passive is the reason why you are able to chain the gloom. And with the help of her passive, your movement speed will also be increased by 15% when you are inside the circle of your gloom. And since your movement speed gets increased, make sure to keep moving whenever you use her second skill, as this could make it harder for the enemies to hit you with their skills, increasing your survivability. Now, let's talk about her ultimate. With the help of her ultimate, you can return to the Black Shoes location 4 seconds ago, and restore all your health and mana to its previous state. So, it pretty much means if your HP and mana were full 4 seconds ago, you will be teleported back to that state and all your HP and mana will also be restored. But remember, if your HP was low 4 seconds ago, then you won't recover any extra HP. As this skill doesn't heal your HP, instead it teleports you 4 seconds back in time. This skill is a game changer because it provides her with a unique escape mechanism that few heroes in Mobile Legends possess. And even when you are targeted by the opponents, you can re-engage upon activation of this skill, since you will essentially have a second life. And I forgot to mention this, But you can also use her second skill to check the bushes, as it provides vision. Now, before we move on, here are some fun facts about Lylia you probably didn't know about. Lylia was inspired by the American pop singer Melanie Martinez, and the split hair color is one of her signature hairstyles. And Lylia has a voice line where she says, "Cry baby," which points towards the album which Melanie Martinez released on 2015. And in the lore, Lylia is a practitioner of black magic, and also the sole inheritor of the alien space summoning power. And just like other heroes, Lylia also has a companion pet. The Gloom, which you see is her pet. It's a type of void monster who enjoys devouring magic. And her second skill, Shadow Energy, is the only non-transformation skill that is available from the start of the game. Now, let's talk about her builds and emblems. For Lylia, in order to maximize her effectiveness on the battlefield, these are the items that are the most suitable for her, as this build will provide you with cooldown reduction and also increase your magic damage. And for her emblem, go for the Mage emblem for more magic power. And for her first talent, go for Inspire. This will provide you with 5% extra cooldown reduction. And for her second talent, go for Tenacity. This will increase your defense once your HP is low. And for her core talent, go for Impure Rage for more damage. Now, let's talk about how to use her in a game. During the early game, your main priority should be farming, because you will notice that Lylia needs a lot of mana when you use her, so try to buy Enchanted Talisman as fast as you can, as it will provide you with mana and cooldown reduction. And since the cooldown reduction also affects the recharge cooldown of your second skill, it will allow you to spam your second skill more often. And if things are going well in your lane, make sure to help your side laners and jungler in securing objectives like Turtle. And remember, your second skill is your main source of damage, so make sure to use it wisely, because Lylia becomes useless when her second skill is on cooldown. So always make sure to aim your second skill properly, as successfully hitting an enemy hero will reduce the cooldown of your second skill by 50%. And when using her second skill, make sure to keep enough distance between you and the enemy heroes. And if you want to gank the side lanes during the early game, clear the minion wave on your lane first, and after you finish clearing the minion wave, you can rotate to other lanes. And after you finish ganking the side lane, make sure to immediately return to your lane, so that the enemies won't be able to push the turret. Now, let's talk about her mid-game. During the mid to late game, your main priority should be helping your teammates during a teamfight, and make sure to constantly stay behind your teammates, so that the enemies won't be able to kill you easily. And always make sure to keep an eye on the mini-map, as having map awareness is very important, especially when playing a mage. And during this stage, don't waste your second skill, as they are your main source of damage, and consider saving them for only team fights. And during the mid to late game, you must be very careful, as you are the main damage dealer, so the enemies will always try to kill you first. Remember, timing and positioning is very important when using a mage. The way you position yourself during a team fight will always decide the outcome. And make sure to be careful when playing against heroes with hard stun and CC abilities, as heroes with hard stun abilities can easily take out Lylia before you can even use her ultimate. Lylia is honestly a solid mage that can take out everyone in her path without much problem, but being used to her playstyle can take some time, so it's always a good idea to practice before using her in ranked matches. I'd recommend you to try using her in offline mode first, and once you're ready, you can start practicing her in classic mode, and then eventually use her in ranked matches. So, what do you think about Lylia? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to like the video, and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. You guys motivate me to make better videos. Thank you for watching.